We hope that you all go through our previous videos sessions on ISO 22000 standard. From last videos we were discussed clauses 4, 5, 6 and 7. Today you are going to learn about clause 8 operations. Every organization need an operational plan in order to function with ISO 22000 standard. Clause 8 is composed of operational planning and control, prerequisite programs, traceability system, emergency preparedness and response, hazard control, updating the information specifying the PRPs and the hazard control plan, control of monitoring and measuring, verification related to PRPs and the hazard control plan, control of product and process nonconformities. Let's get to know each clause one by one. If you are closely work with other quality standards, you may note that this operational planning and control section provides a common requirement. Therefore, you need to ensure that you have fully understood all the requirements for your product or service. Previously you were not hurried to follow sector-specific PRPs. There were commonly defined prerequisite programs, but in this version it suggests to use the specific ISO TS 22002 series depending on the sector you are working on to determine the PRPs. From a previous video, we were discussed about PRPs and OPRPs. Before conducting the hazard analysis, you need to establish those prerequisites with considering your organization context, size and activities. Other than the above-mentioned points, ISO TS 22002 series and applicable standards, codes of practices and guidelines must be considered. And those prerequisites must be approved by the food safety team. The standard has clearly mentioned the list of PRPs that every organization should consider, so don't miss any of them. Another very important part is documentation. All documented information regarding the selection, establishment, monitoring and verification of the PRPs must be maintained. If your company having an effective traceability system, you're able to identify incoming material from the suppliers to the end product distribution channel. When establishing traceability system, need to consider following points also. Relation of lots of received materials, ingredients and intermediate products to the end products. Reworking of materials or products. Distribution of the end product. Here not only just establishing the procedure, you need to verify the system effectiveness. The documented evidence of these tests will be retained for a defined period not less than the shelf life of the products. Emergency situations could be natural disasters, an earthquake, sabotage, blockage of main utilities or environmental accidents. First, you need to identify the possibilities of emergency situations that could occur within your processing facility. These situations may vary from one facility to another facility. Below are some examples for emergency situations but not limited to below. Fire, cyclones, flooding, power failures, sabotage, water shortage, machine breakdown due to lightning and electrical surge, vehicle breakdown at the transportation, any other potential emergency situation or accidents. Below documented information should establish procedure for respond to emergency situations with considering impact on food safety, records of incidents, training evidences for outlined procedures such as fire drills. And another important thing is updating the documented information. Before carrying out the analysis of hazards, do not forget to establish a multidisciplinary team with a defined leader. This is the first step of HACCP, and although ISO 22000 does not specify this requirement in this section, it is mandated as part of the responsibilities of top management. Once established the characteristics of raw materials, end products, intended use and a very detailed flow diagrams, as the standard now requires, it's time to carry out the hazard analysis. We have already uploaded a video on determination of CCPS and OPRPs. An assessment of each of the control measures is needed to categorize them to be managed as OPRP or CCP. We plan to discuss how to done a hazard analysis for you process from our next video, because you need to identify it very clearly. The organization should ensure that the hazard control plan and the PRPs are up to date. In here you need to provide evidences for the adequacy of the monitoring and measuring activities related to the PRPs, OPRPs and CCPs. The monitoring and measuring equipment used should be calibrated or verified at specified intervals prior to use, adjusted or readjusted as necessary, identified to enable the calibration status to be determined, safeguarded from adjustments that would invalidate the measurement results, protected from damage and deterioration. The results of calibration and verification shall be retained as documented information. When absence of the calibration standards, the basis used for calibration or verification shall be retained as documented information. Through verification you will be able to make sure that input to hazard analysis is updated, PRPs are implemented and updated, OPRPs and CCPs are implemented and effective, hazard levels are within identified acceptable levels, every implemented procedure you established is effective. All these verification results must be assessed by the defined food safety team. What is meant by nonconformity? In simply non-fulfillment of a requirement. When critical limits for a CCP or action criteria for an OPRP are not met, you must treat the product as potentially unsafe from entering the food chain. These products must be identified and retained at your organization at all times until its evaluation and disposition is determined. Documented information should retain to describe corrections made on non-conforming products and processes, including the nature of the nonconformity, the causes of the failure, the consequences as a result of the nonconformity. Where monitoring shows that critical limits at CCPs are not met, you shall not release these products. Instead, their disposition must be documented and authorized, ensuring their reprocess to ensure the food safety hazard is reduced to an acceptable level. Other use that do not jeopardize food safety in the food chain. Their destruction or disposal as waste. The organization should able to ensure the timely withdrawal or recall of lots of end product. The organization shall establish and maintain documented information for notifying relevant interested parties, handling withdrawn or recalled products as well as products still in stock, performing the sequence of actions to be taken. And you need to assess the effectiveness of your process by conducting mock recall program. Thanks for watching, see you soon and don't forget to subscribe our channel.